Halo Online started its life as a free-to-play Halo game for the Russian market. Unfortunately, that project was canceled on August 24th of 2016 before it even came out. However, all the work that went into Halo Online did not go to waste, as a group of modders known as the Eldewrito team were able to create the Eldewrito mod that lots of people are familiar with today. What ended up happening to Eldewrito was very unfortunate, with Microsoft kind of coming in and shutting down the project to some degree. They didn't technically shut it down, but they did kind of effectively doom the project, as they weren't allowed to work on it anymore and they weren't allowed to publicly share the files, and lots of people just plain thought that Eldewrito was shut down completely and therefore stopped trying to play it. Ever since then, the game's population has slowly dwindled, especially with MCC coming to PC, kind of replacing the need for something like Halo 3 on PC anyways. Well, today we're going to hop into Eldewrito and see, can you still play Eldewrito? So let's hop right in. Alright, so here is Halo Online, or Eldewrito. Admittedly, I have not launched this baby up in quite some time. We're going to check out the server browser and see if people are still playing. There are a whopping 4 people playing. Infection Fat Kid, which is hilarious because when this game was popping, I felt like there was always a Fat Kid server at the top of the list. All right, so here is Eldewrito, or Halo Online. It's funny that the one server I found was playing Fat Kid, because when this game was popular, I feel like that is legit all people were trying to play. So it's funny to see now, when there's literally 5 people left on the game, they're out here playing Fat Kid. Look at this. Look at this semi-truck. That's fucking hilarious. I'm guessing this was brought into Eldewrito in Forge, I think. That would be my guess, just based on the objects. Eldewrito's Forge is actually super good, and I know a lot of people want a lot of the Forge features that are in Eldewrito to be brought into Halo 3 MCC, because they would really improve the Forge in that game, which would just be really cool, obviously, for the custom game scene and just the longevity of MCC. Eldewrito in general has a ton of features that would be really cool to see in MCC, although other than the maps and the armors, which are more just part of the original Halo Online, we haven't seen too many of the features make their way over. Alright, so the server switched from Fat Kid on Foundry to more of a basic Halo 3 game mode and map, obviously with Team Snipers on Narrows. I will say, playing this is so weird because it doesn't have the modern aiming style from MCC. So you can see when I go in circles here how it kind of goes at different speeds, which is actually a lot more accurate to how sniping worked back in Xbox 360 MCC. So it's kind of crazy to try and use that again, because I'm so used to modern aiming, even though these days I mostly play on mouse and keyboard anyways. So obviously Halo Online, it is technically playable, although like I showed you guys, there was literally one server tonight. Some nights probably a server or 2 more than others, but it definitely has dwindled in numbers from those high peaks when the 0.6 update dropped, when they had almost 10,000 players on at once. So that's just kind of what happened, since a bunch of people legitimately thought Microsoft shut the project down altogether, which they really didn't. They just stopped the Eldewrito team from working on the mod, and they kind of publicly forbid them from sharing the files. No, it's too bad that this is the only server going right now, because I would love to show you guys some of the super cool and wacky stuff that is possible in Halo Online that you can't do in MCC, because obviously we could go play Team Snipers right now in MCC, but there are so many fun modes that I played in Halo Online that I really wish more people had the chance to check out. Whether it's playing Halo 3 with abilities, which I know some people are probably scoffing at, but it's pretty fun in a custom game setting when you're messing around with sprint or kind of armor abilities. There's also all sorts of Forge made maps that are really just levels above where they're at today in MCC, just because the Forge in this is so much better. I'm obviously not some pro Forger, but if I had to guess, I would probably say Eldewrito or Halo Online's Forge is probably only weaker than Halo 5. I would say it's probably stronger than all of the MCC. God, it's so hard to aim with a controller in this. It's crazy. But yeah, I would say it's probably stronger than any of the Forges in the Master Chief Collection today. And it's kind of a bummer that people don't get to see the cool stuff that was made in this, because either people don't even know about this game or have completely forgotten that it exists. One thing I think this game does really, really well that I wish they would implement in MCC is the way that the custom game browser works, or in this game it's just called a server browser. But basically, long story short, I won't go into a huge spiel about it because I've talked about it before. In this game, if you're playing modded game modes or modded maps, those still work in the server browser because obviously all the mods are on the server, and then if you need to download something, it'll just auto download it for you. However, in MCC, you can't even play mods on the custom game browser because the custom game browser requires you to have the anti-cheat on. I think it would be really cool if in a future update 343 allowed us to host custom game browser lobbies that don't require the anti-cheat to be on, but also still allow people to join those lobbies off of the custom game browser and then just prompt them to download the modded map instead of just crashing their game like it would now if you tried to join a modded lobby without the modded maps installed. It's just like giving me weird vibes. It's so weird trying to aim like this. I've admittedly not been playing much MCC lately, but for some reason, even though I'm literally playing snipers on Narrows, which I could do any day of the week I wanted to on MCC, it's like a cool vibe to be back on Halo Online and kind of messing around. And it's not new or anything like that, but it's a little bit different than what I've been doing for months, so it's kind of fun. I'll make sure before the video ends, if the server doesn't go into any cool modes or cool maps, I'll try and load up some of them to show you guys. I think one thing that a lot of people still want from Halo Online to come to MCC is some of the maps that we haven't seen. We've obviously seen Edge, which was a map in Halo Online, and then we saw Waterfall, which was a map that was in development for Halo Online but never actually released. But there are more maps from Halo Online that haven't made their way to Halo 3 and MCC, and the most notable one for me has always been Icebox, which is a remake of Turf, one of the better maps from Halo 2. I would love to see Icebox make its way into MCC, and I hope it does in one of the remaining seasons before support for the MCC kind of dwindles down. Alright, so now we're just playing free-for-all on Guardian, regular free-for-all though, instead of snipes. So one thing to kind of note with Halo Online is the battle rifle. I don't know if it's technically hit scan or if it just has a really high projectile speed, but it doesn't really function like Halo 3's BR, so you don't need to lead your shots or anything like that. I think some people like this, some people don't. Obviously, Halo 3 was designed to be played with the slower projectile speed, so that's what I would always lean toward in terms of the two, but it never bothered me enough to hate this game when I did play it a lot, so it's an interesting experience. It's just a little bit different. It's just crazy to me how much of a splash Halo Online made when the big 0.6 update dropped years ago. It literally took the internet by storm, and it really showed how much of a craving there was for Halo on PC again. And I don't know for sure if Eldewrito is the reason that MCC came to PC or is the reason that Infinite is coming to PC, but I think you could make the argument that without Halo Online popping off the way that it did, maybe we don't see MCC ever come to PC, or maybe we don't get Infinite on PC at launch. And so that's really cool. Just the part that Eldewrito plays in the history of Halo is something that I think people will look back upon in 5 or 10 years and really kind of realize how big of a deal this game was for Halo as a franchise. Oh, he's lagging. At the end of the day, its lifespan wasn't super long. I feel like if I remember correctly, the 0.6 update, which was when it really finally got publicity, came out, and I think not even a week later, Microsoft kind of put the hammer down and didn't kill it, but pseudo killed it since everyone thought that it was totally shut down. I could be misremembering. It could have been a little bit longer, but its time in the sun was definitely really short. But for a long time after the Microsoft news, there were still a lot of people playing, and I used to play it semi-frequently, not all the time or anything like that, but a few times a week, and I would hop on and there would be all sorts of servers playing anything from game modes like this where you were just playing standard Halo settings to some of those more wacky and fun game modes that I was talking about earlier. I do think that if there's one thing that Eldewrito really showed, besides just a desire for Halo on PC, is how important a server browser really is for Halo's type of game style, because that's what allows people to play all their favorite custom games. And especially in something like this, where not only were you playing regular custom games, you were playing all sorts of modded game modes and stuff too. I think that'll kind of do it for standard game modes. Let me see if I can try and find us a lobby with some more fun stuff. At the very least, I'll run around a little bit and show you guys some cool stuff that I can find, and then we'll kind of wrap up the video. So as you can see here, there's a handful of gun game servers, which now are a lot less unique since MCC has Escalation Slayer, but these were pretty cool back in the day when I originally played them. You can also see, kind of just looking at the map names, that people have made and remade all sorts of different maps, whether it's Derelict and Foundation, or there's something called Halo Ring V3. Why don't we check this one out? Yo! So here I found a server playing a game mode called Mario Kart, and basically it looks like they kind of just made a race map, so Duquesne would be proud right now. I instantly fell off the map. But yeah, there's just all sorts of cool stuff like this that was in Halo Online. And these aren't things that you can see in Halo 3 today. Nobody is making this map in Forge in Halo 3 MCC today. And while Reach, don't get me wrong, has some super cool game modes in MCC, especially with the modded game modes that have kind of made their resurgence recently with the custom game browser, it still would be super cool to see Eldewrito's Forge, or at least the features from this Forge, make their way into MCC, as I think it would give the game a lot more longevity, or at least it would give the people that are still playing that post Infinite a lot more tools to kind of show off their creativity. So here's another feature that I think would be really cool to see in MCC, and that's just the DMR. Nothing too special. I don't even know if I'd necessarily want to see it in matchmaking outside of maybe special playlists similar to the Recon Slayer playlist we had a while back, but this would be a cool weapon to see kind of added into the sandbox to allow people to make custom games with. So here's another server, unfortunately unpopulated, where they remade Nuketown. And this server is playing gun game. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to upgrade my weapon since there's no one to shoot at. But look how cool Nuketown looks in Eldewrito. It's obviously not perfect by any means, but there's all sorts of cool maps in Eldewrito that have been remade using the Eldewrito Forge, and you can just tell by a glance how many more textures and how many more tools the Eldewrito Forgers have than standard Halo 3 MCC Forgers. Before we end the video, I'm going to hop us into just a private lobby in Forge, because I just kind of want to show you guys, not necessarily how to make a map, because I couldn't even really figure out what I'm doing, but I want to show you guys some of the cool weapons that are in Eldewrito, along with some of the abilities. Alright, so here's Icebox, that remake of Turf that I was talking about. So as you guys can see, I mean, this map is sweet. I would love to see this in Halo 3 MCC. But I just wanted to show you guys real quickly some of the cool things that I think could still make their way into Halo 3 MCC if they wanted to. Obviously, there's all the different Forge features that I've kind of already talked about a little bit. But if we got more into the gameplay side of things, you could see some of these weapons like the DMR. Or what's also really cool in Eldewrito is they have different variants of all the guns. So I'm not going to spawn all of them, but if you wanted a battle rifle with higher rate of fire, similar to kind of some of the wrecks from Halo 5, you can get a battle rifle that shoots different. And these would be really, really cool for Halo 3 custom games. Think of all the cool things you can make if you had all these different options. Maybe you want a Covenant carbine that has increased accuracy. Or maybe you want that DMR with an increased fire rate. There's all sorts of different cool things that are in Halo Online Sandbox. There's also all of the abilities like Concussive Blast, Hologram, Lightning Strike, Reflective Shield, Vehicle Camo, and Vision. And I'm not saying that these would be great additions to the Halo 3 sandbox in general, but they would be a lot of fun for custom games. You know, you got the hologram, there's the visor equipment, which is pretty similar to Halo 4 Promethean Vision. You have the vehicle cloaking, which allows you to get in a vehicle and make the vehicle completely invisible. How cool would that be for custom games? I mean, look at this. Imagine you're playing a custom game and an invisible tank just absolutely destroys you. Or there's this cool concussive blast where your Spartan kind of just punches into the ground and you can use it for all sorts of different things, like blasting a vehicle really far away. Or you could get this reflective shield, which kind of bounces bullets off of you. There's just so much here that would be so cool in MCC. That's pretty much going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you kind of just enjoyed this. There's not a lot of people playing Eldewrito today, but it is still technically playable. Tonight there is one server going. I do think it's a little bit of a bummer that they've just been playing standard Halo 3 game modes and maps the whole time I've been here, because if I wanted to do that, I could do this in MCC. But regardless, I mean, if you get some of your friends on or anything like that, you guys could check out all the different servers that I was showing you, and there is all sorts of cool content that you wouldn't be able to play in MCC. You could also mess with the Forge and make maps or all sorts of other things. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's pretty much going to do it. If you guys want, make sure you follow me over on Twitch or Twitter or Instagram. And with that said, I'll see you all next time.